Back in 1973, renowned actor Anthony Hopkins found himself preparing for what would become one of his most memorable film roles in The Girl from Petrovka. This cinematic masterpiece was based on George Pfeiffer's compelling novel, and Hopkins, being the dedicated artist he was, knew he needed to absorb the source material before stepping into character. What followed was an exhausting day-long hunt through every bookstore across London, searching for this elusive book. Every shop owner gave him the same disappointing news. The novel was completely out of print, with no copies anywhere to be found. Hopkins visited prestigious bookstores in Piccadilly, small independent shops in Camden, and even second-hand stores tucked away in forgotten corners of the city. Each search ended with the same result: empty hands and growing frustration. The book seemed to have vanished from existence, as if the universe was deliberately keeping it from him. Defeated and frustrated, Hopkins made his way to the London Underground to head home. The subway car was filled with the usual mix of commuters, tourists, and city dwellers, each lost in their own world of thoughts and concerns. As his train pulled into a station, he watched a passenger rush off in typical city fashion, completely oblivious to the item they'd abandoned on their seat. In the hustle and bustle of London's underground, forgotten items were common: newspapers, umbrellas, shopping bags. But this particular object would change everything. That forgotten item was a book. When Hopkins walked over to examine what had been left behind, his jaw dropped. There, staring back at him, was the exact title he'd been desperately seeking all day: The Girl from Petrovka. The book appeared to be well read, with slightly worn edges and pages that had been turned by countless fingers. It was as if this specific copy had been waiting for him, patiently sitting on that subway seat until the precise moment he would discover it. But here's where this story becomes truly extraordinary. Months later, after the film's release, Hopkins found himself face to face with George Pfeiffer himself, the book's author. During their conversation, Hopkins recounted his incredible discovery on the subway. Pfeiffer listened in complete amazement before revealing something that sent chills down both their spines. That specific copy Hopkins had found? Pfeiffer was certain it belonged to him. He had loaned it to a close friend months earlier, and that friend had somehow lost it while traveling on the London Underground. Calculate the mathematical probability of such an event unfolding exactly as it did. Consider the millions of people who ride the London Underground daily, the thousands of books that exist in the world, the countless subway cars and seats, and the infinite moments when someone could have found that book. The numbers would be astronomical, so improbable that conventional logic would dismiss it as impossible. Yet this impossible event occurred in perfect precision, connecting author to actor through a seemingly random moment in one of the world's busiest transportation systems. This wasn't just coincidence. It was synchronicity operating at its most profound level, orchestrating circumstances across time and space to ensure that Hopkins would find exactly what he needed at exactly the right moment. Similar extraordinary events unfold around us constantly, though most people remain completely unaware of their significance. I guarantee you've encountered your own share of these mysterious occurrences. Perhaps you've had someone pop into your thoughts, only to receive their phone call moments later. Maybe you've been contemplating a vacation destination when suddenly a travel brochure for that exact location appears in your mailbox, or a stranger strikes up a conversation about that precise place. Or you might have experienced a vivid dream that later materialized in your waking reality with startling accuracy. These experiences often leave us with a peculiar feeling, a sense that something deeper than mere chance is at work. We might dismiss them as coincidences, but deep in our consciousness, we recognize that something more meaningful is occurring. These moments feel charged with significance, as though reality itself is trying to capture our attention and deliver a message we're meant to receive. What's really happening in these moments? Are we simply witnessing random chance at work? Or is there something far more profound orchestrating these events? The answer challenges our fundamental understanding of how reality operates and suggests that we live in a universe far more interconnected and responsive than we've been taught to believe. These remarkable coincidences often carry deep personal significance for those who experience them, creating an almost sacred feeling, as though the cosmos itself is attempting to communicate directly with us. The sensation is unmistakable, a sudden recognition that something greater than ourselves is actively participating in our life experience, weaving meaning into moments that might otherwise seem ordinary. The brilliant Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung coined the term synchronicity for these phenomena and dedicated years of his life to understanding their deeper implications. Through extensive research and documentation, Jung offered this profound observation. Through my extensive research into this phenomenon, I discovered coincidences so meaningfully connected that their probability of occurring by pure chance would require astronomical numbers to express. Jung wasn't content to simply observe these events. He sought to understand their underlying mechanisms and significance. His investigations led him to propose that synchronicities represent something far more important than random occurrences. They are glimpses into the fundamental interconnectedness of all existence. Moments when the hidden patterns governing reality become visible to our conscious awareness. Jung investigated how seemingly random events might possess deeper, more transcendent significance, proposing that our inner consciousness and the external world are interconnected in ways that transcend conventional cause and effect relationships. He believed our psychological inner world and our external environment are woven together through invisible threads that operate beyond our normal understanding of time, space, and causality. According to Jung's groundbreaking research, synchronicities emerge from what he called the collective unconscious, a shared field of consciousness that connects all human beings and, by extension, all of existence. This collective unconscious contains archetypal patterns and universal symbols that influence our experiences and guide the unfolding of meaningful coincidences in our lives. Jung also discovered that synchronicities tend to cluster around periods of psychological transformation and spiritual growth. During times when individuals are undergoing significant life changes, questioning their beliefs, or opening to new levels of consciousness, the frequency and intensity of synchronistic experiences often increase dramatically. This suggests that synchronicities serve as markers on our evolutionary journey, appearing when we're ready to receive their guidance and wisdom. Modern neuroscience has begun to validate some of Jung's insights, discovering that our brains are constantly processing vast amounts of information below the threshold of conscious awareness. This subconscious processing might help explain how we sometimes know things before they happen, or feel drawn to specific places and people without understanding why. Our intuitive faculties may be far more sophisticated than we realize, picking up subtle patterns and connections that our rational mind hasn't yet recognized. Today, we're going to dive deep into the mysterious world of synchronicities and explore 5 distinct categories that you can learn to recognize. You'll discover how to decode their hidden meanings and use them to align yourself with the cosmic flow and your authentic higher self, magnetizing the experiences and opportunities you truly desire into your reality. By the end of our exploration, you'll have a comprehensive understanding of how synchronicities operate and practical tools for working with them consciously. But first, let's establish a crucial foundation for understanding synchronicities by examining what they reveal about the nature of reality itself. Synchronicities serve as powerful evidence that our reality is far more fluid, responsive, and connected to our awareness than we typically realize. They challenge the materialist worldview that sees the universe as a collection of separate objects interacting through purely physical forces. Einstein himself reminded us that reality is nothing but an illusion, though a remarkably persistent one. While this might sound abstract or philosophical, synchronicities provide concrete evidence for Einstein's assertion. These meaningful coincidences reveal that our world operates more like a shared consciousness experience or an interactive simulation than a rigid, independent physical structure. Consider how synchronicities seem to respond to our thoughts, emotions, and intentions in ways that defy conventional explanations. When we're thinking about someone and they suddenly call, when we need something and it appears, when we're contemplating a decision and signs appear to guide us. These experiences suggest that consciousness and physical reality are far more intimately connected than mainstream science typically acknowledges. Modern quantum mechanics has demonstrated that physical phenomena are fundamentally shaped by non-physical influences. The observer, simply through the act of observation, literally determines the behavior of matter. Our material universe takes form through consciousness itself, and synchronicities are direct expressions of this profound truth. If you're finding this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe for more consciousness-expanding content like this. Now let's examine the 5 distinct types of synchronicities you can learn to recognize as they appear in your life. Understanding these categories will help you become more aware of the different ways the universe communicates with you and provide you with a framework for interpreting the meaningful coincidences that occur in your experience. Each type of synchronicity serves a unique purpose in our spiritual and psychological development, offering different kinds of guidance and support as we navigate our life journey. By learning to recognize these patterns, you'll develop what could be called synchronicity literacy, the ability to read the universe's subtle communications and respond appropriately to the guidance being offered. Protective warning synchronicities. These meaningful coincidences emerge just before challenging or life-altering situations present themselves. They typically manifest when we're approaching a crossroads involving major choices that could dramatically reshape our destiny. This creates energetic turbulence in our current timeline, causing our local reality to become unstable and responsive to subtle influences. When our future remains uncertain and multiple paths lie before us, various potential timelines begin to take shape as realistic possibilities. Quantum physics suggests that all possible futures exist simultaneously until our choices and observations collapse them into a single experienced reality. During these crucial decision points, our consciousness becomes highly sensitive to information from these potential futures. We understand that seemingly minor decisions can trigger massive, sometimes permanent shifts in our life trajectory. A single choice to take a different route home might lead to meeting your future spouse. Deciding to attend a particular event could result in a career-changing opportunity. Choosing to move to a new city might alter the entire course of your life. These pivotal moments carry enormous energetic weight, and synchronicities often appear to help us navigate them wisely. During these crucial moments, synchronicities often appear as protective warnings, steering us away from potentially harmful paths and outcomes. These warning synchronicities can manifest in various forms. Mechanical problems that prevent us from being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Unexpected delays that save us from dangerous situations. Or a series of coincidental obstacles that force us to reconsider our planned course of action. The fascinating aspect of protective synchronicities is that they seem to operate with perfect timing and precision. They appear exactly when needed, not too early to be ignored or forgotten, and not too late to be useful. This suggests that some aspect of our consciousness, perhaps our higher self, or what Jung called the self with a capital S, has access to information about potential futures and can influence present circumstances to guide us toward optimal outcomes. Picture this scenario. You're considering purchasing a home and discover what appears to be an incredible deal. The price point is attractive, the neighborhood appeals to you, and you're ready to move forward with the purchase. You've done your research, examined comparable properties, and everything seems perfect on paper. However, as you prepare to leave for the final paperwork, your vehicle mysteriously refuses to start. This car has been reliable for years, starting without fail in all kinds of weather. But today, it simply won't turn over. Frustrated but determined, you call for a taxi, but during the ride, you encounter a traffic accident that delays your arrival significantly. The accident appears to be minor, but it creates a massive traffic jam that adds an hour to your journey. As you sit in the back seat, watching the minutes tick by, you begin to feel increasingly anxious about missing your appointment. When you finally reach the bank, located directly across from your potential new home, you witness police officers entering the adjacent property. There are multiple squad cars, and you can see officers questioning several residents. The scene is chaotic and concerning, quite different from the peaceful neighborhood you thought you were buying into. These consecutive obstacles cause you to pause and reconsider your decision, ultimately choosing to walk away from the purchase. The series of delays has given you time to think, and witnessing the police activity has raised serious questions about the area's safety and the quality of neighbors you'd be living near. Later, through conversations with other residents and local real estate agents, you learn that the neighboring property has been a constant source of problems. The residents are extremely problematic, causing ongoing disputes and making life miserable for everyone in the building. There have been noise complaints, property damage incidents, and even threats made against other neighbors. The police visit you witnessed was part of an ongoing investigation into harassment and intimidation. Had your car started normally and you hadn't witnessed the police activity, you might have rushed into a decision you'd deeply regret. The financial investment would have been significant, but more importantly, your daily quality of life would have been severely compromised. This demonstrates how protective synchronicities can subtly influence our choices in ways we don't immediately recognize, operating behind the scenes to guide us away from potential difficulties. Protective synchronicities often work through what appears to be inconvenience or frustration in the moment. We might feel annoyed by delays, mechanical problems, or unexpected obstacles, not realizing that these apparent setbacks are actually protecting us from something worse. Learning to recognize these patterns helps us develop trust in the universe's guidance, even when it doesn't align with our immediate desires or plans. Confirmation synchronicities. These powerful signs frequently accompany pivotal moments in our spiritual evolution and personal development. Unlike protective warnings, confirmation synchronicities validate that we're moving in the right direction or help us select the best option from available choices, functioning as an inner compass, guiding us toward growth and authentic self-expression. When opportunities for consciousness expansion and personal evolution present themselves, beneficial timelines begin to open for our soul's journey. These positive pathways are incredibly potent because our authentic essence is naturally drawn to them like a magnet. These are the decisions that lead us toward a life that's truly aligned with our genuine self and our deeper life purpose. The universe seems to have an innate intelligence that recognizes when we're moving toward our highest potential. When we make choices that align with our soul's purpose, when we step into our authentic power, when we choose love over fear, these moments create positive ripples in the fabric of reality itself. Confirmation synchronicities appear as the universe's way of celebrating these choices and encouraging us to continue on our aligned path. Sometimes, due to disconnection from our inner wisdom and fears controlled by our ego mind, we miss these golden opportunities or become paralyzed by self-doubt and insecurity. Our conditioning, past traumas, and limiting beliefs can create internal resistance to the very changes that would bring us the most fulfillment and growth. In these situations, synchronicities may emerge to help us reconsider these possibilities or provide the motivation we need to choose the positive timeline. They can also manifest as clear confirmation signals, validating that we've made the correct choice. These confirmations often come when we need them most, during moments of doubt or uncertainty about a decision we've made. The universe seems to sense our need for reassurance and responds with unmistakable signs that we're on the right track. Confirmation synchronicities have a unique quality that sets them apart from other types of meaningful coincidences. They often feel deeply personal and intimate, carrying symbols or messages that resonate with our individual history, dreams, and aspirations. What appears as a simple coincidence to an outside observer might carry profound meaning for the person experiencing it. These are the synchronicities that leave us breathless with wonder. Those magical moments when we exclaim, "This is absolutely incredible." They usually have a very personal and intimate meaning that only we can fully understand and appreciate. The symbols, timing, and circumstances combine in ways that feel specifically designed for our unique consciousness and life situation. Imagine you've been contemplating starting a passion project for months, something that excites you but also triggers deep fears. This project represents everything you've always wanted to create, but it also requires you to step far outside your comfort zone and risk failure, criticism, and financial uncertainty. You've been going back and forth in your mind for weeks, analyzing every possible outcome and trying to gather the courage to take action. Finally, after countless internal debates and sleepless nights, you gather the courage to take that first crucial step. You push past your anxieties and make a financial investment that will serve as the foundation for this new venture. You've committed to renting a studio space, purchasing equipment, or enrolling in a program that will help you develop the skills you need. The decision feels both thrilling and terrifying. You feel nervous about the uncertainty and the major life changes ahead. Questions flood your mind. Am I making the right choice? What if I fail? What if I'm not talented enough? What if this is just a foolish dream? The magnitude of what you've committed to begins to sink in, and you need some fresh air and clarity. Seeking some fresh air and clarity, you visit a nearby park and sit quietly with your thoughts. The park is peaceful, with gentle sunlight filtering through the trees and a soft breeze rustling the leaves. You're processing the emotions surrounding your decision when something extraordinary happens. Suddenly, two brilliant butterflies appear and gently land on your outstretched hands. These aren't ordinary butterflies. They're exceptionally beautiful, with vibrant colors that seem to shimmer in the sunlight. They remain perfectly still on your hands, as if they're meant to be there. In all your years, you've never experienced anything like this. Butterflies are typically skittish around humans, but these seem completely comfortable in your presence. At that exact moment, you overhear someone nearby saying, "You've made the perfect choice." You glance around and realize these words came from a conversation between two strangers walking past. They're discussing something completely unrelated to your situation. But the words reach your ears at the precise moment the butterflies land on your hands. You interpret this as a divine sign, a cosmic confirmation that you're following your correct path. An overwhelming sense of joy and universal connection washes over you, filling you with certainty and peace. The timing is too perfect, the symbolism too meaningful to dismiss as mere coincidence. Butterflies represent transformation, and here they are, appearing at the moment you've committed to your own transformation. I'm curious, have you experienced a moment like this where the universe seemed to be directly confirming your path? Drop your synchronicity story in the comments below. This type of confirmation synchronicity provides emotional and spiritual validation that transcends logical explanation. The experience becomes a touchstone you can return to during moments of doubt, reminding you that you're supported by forces greater than your individual will and intelligence. Confirmation synchronicities often involve elements from nature, meaningful numbers, overheard conversations, unexpected encounters with specific animals, or the appearance of objects that hold personal significance. They might involve finding a feather when you're thinking about a deceased loved one, seeing your favorite childhood number repeatedly when you're making an important decision, or having a song with meaningful lyrics play unexpectedly on the radio just when you need to hear its message. These synchronicities serve multiple purposes in our spiritual development. They build our faith in the benevolent intelligence of the universe, strengthen our connection to our intuitive wisdom, and provide emotional support during challenging periods of growth and change. They remind us that we're not alone in our journey, and that our choices matter in ways that extend far beyond our immediate understanding. Symbolic message. Synchronicities. These synchronicities, also referred to as signs, prophetic visions, or omens, deliver symbolic communications during significant life moments. Unlike the more straightforward protective warnings or confirmations, symbolic synchronicities require interpretation and contemplation to reveal their full meaning. They operate through the language of symbols, metaphors, and archetypal imagery that speaks directly to our unconscious mind. These messages can manifest unexpectedly throughout your daily routine, such as repeatedly encountering specific numbers that hold personal meaning for you. You might see 1111 on clocks, $11.11 on receipts. Or notice that important events in your life consistently occur on the 11th of the month. These number patterns often persist until you pay attention to their significance and integrate their message into your conscious awareness. They might also appear through meaningful dreams that provide guidance for your current situation, or as prophetic dreams that offer glimpses into future possibilities. Dream synchronicities can be particularly powerful because they occur when our conscious mind is at rest and our psyche is most open to receiving symbolic information. These dreams often feel different from ordinary dreams, more vivid, emotionally charged, and memorable long after waking. Symbolic synchronicities can also manifest through animals appearing with unusual frequency or in unexpected contexts. Seeing the same type of bird repeatedly, having wild animals approach you unusually closely, or noticing that certain creatures appear during specific emotional states or life transitions. Different animals carry different symbolic meanings across various cultures and spiritual traditions, and understanding these associations can help decode the messages being conveyed. These signs can validate recent choices you've made or alert you to potential challenges along your journey, though their meaning isn't always immediately obvious. Sometimes the significance of a symbolic synchronicity only becomes clear weeks or months after its occurrence, when events unfold that provide context for the original message. This delayed understanding teaches us patience and trust in the timing of universal communication. Decoding these symbolic communications is similar to interpreting dream imagery. It requires careful attention to timing and surrounding circumstances when they occur. The same symbol might carry different meanings depending on what's happening in your life when it appears. A butterfly might represent transformation during a period of personal change, or it might symbolize the soul of a departed loved one offering comfort during grief. Cultural background, personal history, and individual associations all influence how symbols should be interpreted. A crow might represent death and bad luck in one cultural context, while symbolizing wisdom and magic in another. Your personal relationship with specific symbols, based on your life experiences and spiritual beliefs, often provides the most accurate key to understanding their message. By documenting these experiences and searching for recurring patterns, you can begin to understand their significance and how they might influence your life direction. Keep a journal specifically for symbolic synchronicities, noting not only what you observed, but also your emotional state, life circumstances, and any thoughts or questions that were prominent in your mind when the synchronicity occurred. These synchronicities point to a deeper connection between our conscious waking state and the dream realm, suggesting that both dimensions are shaped and influenced by our consciousness. The boundary between waking and dreaming consciousness may be far more permeable than we typically recognize, with information flowing freely between these states of awareness. What makes symbolic synchronicities particularly fascinating is their multi-layered nature. A single symbol might carry personal meaning related to your childhood, archetypal significance from collective human experience, and specific guidance for your current life situation, all simultaneously. For example, seeing a red cardinal might trigger memories of your grandmother who loved these birds, connect you to the universal archetype of the divine messenger, and provide specific guidance about a relationship challenge you're currently facing. Learning to read these layered messages is like developing fluency in the universe's native language. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to think beyond literal interpretations. The same symbol might appear repeatedly with subtle variations, each occurrence adding another layer of meaning or urgency to the overall message. Symbolic synchronicities often intensify during periods of spiritual awakening or major life transitions. As our consciousness expands and we become more sensitive to subtle energies and communications, we naturally begin to notice symbolic patterns that were always present but previously overlooked. This increased sensitivity is both a gift and a responsibility, as it opens us to deeper levels of guidance while requiring greater discernment in interpretation. Some symbolic synchronicities carry warnings about potential difficulties or challenges ahead. These might appear as repeatedly seeing certain symbols associated with caution or danger, experiencing unusual animal behavior, or having recurring dreams with warning themes. Unlike protective synchronicities that prevent immediate harm, symbolic warnings often provide advance notice of challenges that require preparation or conscious navigation. Other symbolic synchronicities offer encouragement and support during difficult times. They might appear as finding pennies when you're worried about money, seeing rainbows during emotional storms, or having meaningful songs play unexpectedly when you need inspiration. These supportive symbols remind us that we're being watched over and that current difficulties are temporary phases in our larger journey. Creation synchronicities. Creation synchronicity occurs when you witness or encounter something in physical reality that materializes as a direct result of a previous thought or desire you held. This type of synchronicity demonstrates the most direct connection between consciousness and physical manifestation, providing tangible evidence that our thoughts and intentions can influence the material world in measurable ways. For instance, wondering about someone you haven't connected with in years and encountering them the following day represents a clear example of creation synchronicity. You might have been thinking about an old friend while looking through photo albums and then run into them at a coffee shop the next morning. Or you might need a specific item and discover it right outside your front door when you step out. Perhaps you've been searching for a particular book and you find it sitting on your doorstep as if someone left it there just for you. What does this phenomenon actually mean? Was it a glimpse into the future? Did your mind somehow register an upcoming event through some form of precognitive awareness? Or did your thought actually generate the physical manifestation through direct influence on reality? Both explanations are possible and do occur, but when our thoughts directly influence external reality, we're witnessing creation synchronicity in action. In these instances, our mental intention triggers a future event through our subconscious mind, externally manifesting as a mirror of our internal thoughts and desires. This is the fundamental mechanism behind what we call the law of attraction, and it carries profound implications for how we understand reality, consciousness, and our role as creative beings in the universe. The process of creation synchronicity involves several levels of consciousness working together. Our conscious mind forms the initial intention or desire. Our subconscious mind processes this information and begins working to manifest it. And our superconscious or higher self coordinates the necessary circumstances and timing to bring the manifestation into physical reality. What's truly mind-bending about creation synchronicities is that the physical events required for manifestation can actually extend backward in time, influencing circumstances even before you formed your original thought. This suggests that consciousness operates outside the linear time constraints that govern our ordinary experience, able to influence past events to create present outcomes. Consider the example of finding exactly what you need outside your home. Perhaps the person who placed that object there made their decision days, weeks, or even months before you even realized you needed it. The chain of events that led to that object being in that specific location at that specific time might have been set in motion long before your conscious desire was formed. It's as though your present intention traveled backward through time to orchestrate the precise circumstances required for your current need to be met. While this might sound impossible from a conventional scientific perspective, it aligns perfectly with quantum physics discoveries showing that our present choices can influence quantum events in the past. This suggests that neither future nor past are fixed realities, but rather fluid possibilities influenced by our consciousness in the present moment. This revelation completely transforms our understanding of time, causality, and our role as conscious creators of our experience. We're not just passive observers of a predetermined reality, but active participants in an ongoing creation process that extends in all temporal directions. Our thoughts, intentions, and beliefs are constantly shaping not only our future experiences, but potentially influencing past events to create the present circumstances we encounter. Creation synchronicities often involve what researchers call impossible coincidences, events so statistically unlikely that conventional probability cannot account for their occurrence. When you think of someone and they call within minutes, when you visualize finding a parking space and one appears exactly where you need it, when you hold an intention for a specific opportunity and it manifests within days, these experiences challenge our understanding of how physical reality operates. The consistency and repeatability of creation synchronicities suggest that consciousness-reality interaction follows discoverable principles, even if we don't yet fully understand the mechanisms involved. People who study and practice conscious manifestation often report increasing frequency and precision in their creation synchronicities over time, as if developing this ability like any other skill. Some creation synchronicities appear to work through what we might call quantum entanglement between consciousness and matter. Just as quantum particles can be instantaneously connected across vast distances, our consciousness might be entangled with specific objects, people, or situations in ways that allow for immediate communication and influence. When we think about someone we're quantumly entangled with, they might receive that information instantaneously and respond by calling or appearing in our experience. Perfect timing synchronicities. Perfect timing synchronicities represent the ideal fusion of preparation-meeting opportunity, making them essential tools for advancing our life purpose and personal narrative. These synchronicities present themselves as opportunities that arrive at precisely the right moment to help us navigate challenging situations or open entirely new pathways in our lives. Although these opportunities might seem highly unlikely or even impossible from a logical perspective, they fit seamlessly and naturally into our life flow, as though they were components of a perfectly orchestrated master plan. The universe seems to conspire in our favor, aligning people, circumstances, and resources in ways that feel almost magical in their precision and appropriateness. Perfect timing synchronicities often involve meeting exactly the right person at the right moment. You might encounter someone who has the exact skills you need for a project, who knows someone who can help you, or who offers you an opportunity you've been seeking. These meetings typically occur in unexpected places and situations. Striking up a conversation with a stranger in an elevator who turns out to be a key contact for your career. Sitting next to someone on a plane who mentions an opportunity perfect for your situation, or running into an old acquaintance who provides information that solves a problem you've been struggling with. The distinguishing characteristic of perfect timing synchronicities is the profound sense of joy and relief they bring when we experience them. They feel intuitively correct, without any struggle or resistance. Everything flows smoothly and harmoniously, as though there's a natural resonance between the synchronicity and our life path. These experiences often leave us feeling grateful and amazed at the intelligence and benevolence of the universe. These synchronicities often involve resources appearing just when they're needed most. You might receive an unexpected check in the mail when you're worried about finances, find the perfect apartment just as you need to move, or discover a solution to a technical problem right when you're about to give up. The timing is always impeccable, arriving neither too early to be appreciated nor too late to be useful. Perfect timing synchronicities frequently occur during periods of transition or when we're stepping into new phases of our lives. They seem to appear as cosmic support for our growth and evolution, providing the practical assistance needed to move forward on our path. Whether it's finding the right mentor, discovering the perfect opportunity, or receiving necessary resources, these synchronicities act as bridges between where we are and where we're meant to be. You can also develop the ability to distinguish between impulses and emotions that stem from social conditioning and biological programming, versus those that arise from your authentic spiritual essence. The more you operate from your spiritual intelligence and genuine intuition, the more frequently you'll encounter synchronicities that will guide you along your most positive and abundant life path. What patterns of synchronicity have you noticed when you follow your intuition versus when you ignore it? Share your insights in the comments. Here's something the original discussion didn't address. Synchronicities often intensify during major life transitions, spiritual awakenings, and periods of deep personal growth. They serve as confirmation that you're entering a new phase of consciousness expansion. Many people report experiencing clusters of synchronicities during times when they're questioning their life direction or seeking deeper meaning. During spiritual awakenings, individuals often find themselves suddenly noticing meaningful coincidences everywhere they look. Numbers that hold personal significance appear repeatedly. Conversations overheard in public seem to directly address their current concerns, and books, articles, or videos with relevant messages seem to find their way into their awareness. This heightened synchronicity activity serves as external validation of internal transformation. Additionally, the quality and frequency of synchronicities you experience often reflect your current level of conscious awareness and spiritual development. As you become more awakened to the interconnected nature of reality, you naturally become more sensitive to these subtle cosmic communications. Your consciousness becomes more refined and attuned to the symbolic language through which the universe communicates. People in early stages of spiritual development might experience only occasional synchronicities, often dismissing them as mere coincidence. As awareness grows, synchronicities become more frequent and obvious, building confidence in their significance. Advanced practitioners often report living in a state of almost constant synchronicity, where meaningful connections and perfect timing become the norm rather than the exception. The development of synchronicity awareness follows a predictable pattern. Initially, people notice only the most obvious coincidences, dramatic timing, repeated numbers, or impossible meetings. As sensitivity increases, subtler forms of synchronicity become apparent. Overheard conversations that provide guidance, finding exactly the right book at the right time, or having thoughts confirmed by external events. Eventually, highly developed individuals report experiencing what could be called synchronicity flows, extended periods where multiple types of synchronicities work together to guide major life decisions or transitions. During these flows, protective warnings might prevent wrong turns, confirmations validate correct choices, symbolic messages provide deeper understanding, creation synchronicities manifest needed resources, and perfect timing opportunities open new pathways forward. Synchronicity awareness also tends to be contagious. People who spend time with those who recognize and discuss synchronicities often begin noticing more meaningful coincidences in their own lives. This suggests that synchronicity recognition might be partly learned behavior, with awareness spreading through social networks and communities of practice. Understanding synchronicity clusters can help you navigate major life transitions more consciously. When you notice an increase in synchronistic activity, it often signals that significant change is approaching, or that you're being called to make important decisions. Paying attention to the messages being conveyed through these clusters can provide valuable guidance for navigating change successfully. The relationship between meditation and synchronicity frequency is particularly noteworthy. Regular meditation practice tends to increase synchronicity awareness by quieting mental chatter and enhancing intuitive sensitivity. Meditators often report that synchronicities become more frequent and meaningful as their practice deepens, suggesting that inner stillness creates optimal conditions for receiving universal guidance. Prayer, intention setting, and conscious manifestation practices also seem to increase synchronicity frequency. When we clearly articulate our needs, desires, or questions to the universe, we often find that synchronicities appear to provide answers or assistance. This suggests that synchronicities might be partly responsive to our conscious requests for guidance and support. Different types of synchronicities tend to appear during different life phases and spiritual development stages. Young people often experience more creation and opportunity synchronicities, as they're actively building their lives and exploring possibilities. Middle-aged individuals might notice more protective and confirmation synchronicities as they navigate complex responsibilities and major life decisions. Older adults often report increased symbolic and prophetic synchronicities as they develop wisdom and spiritual understanding. Understanding these patterns can help you recognize what types of guidance you're receiving and respond appropriately. If you're experiencing many protective synchronicities, it might be time to slow down and reconsider your current direction. If confirmations are frequent, you're likely on the right track and should continue with confidence. Symbolic synchronicities might call for reflection and inner work, while creation synchronicities suggest your manifestation abilities are particularly active. The study of synchronicity has practical applications for personal development and spiritual growth. By tracking patterns in your synchronistic experiences, you can gain insights into your spiritual progress, identify areas where you need guidance, and recognize when you're aligned with your authentic path versus when you're struggling against your natural flow. Many spiritual teachers recommend keeping a synchronicity journal to track patterns and develop interpretation skills. Recording not only the events themselves, but also your emotional state, life circumstances, and subsequent outcomes can reveal important insights about how synchronicities operate in your specific life experience. After exploring synchronicity and its various manifestations in depth, let's examine how you can actively integrate them into your everyday experience. First, and most importantly, cultivating heightened awareness is essential. This means paying close attention to the subtle and seemingly minor details of your daily life, developing what we might call cosmic consciousness, an awareness that everything is connected and potentially meaningful. You must remain alert to those intriguing moments that might otherwise slip by unnoticed, such as recurring themes in conversations, symbols that keep appearing in your environment, or unusual patterns that seem to follow you around. These could be synchronistic events attempting to establish communication with you. The key is developing peripheral awareness while going about your daily activities, staying open to signs and signals, while not becoming obsessively focused on finding meaning in every small event. Maintaining a synchronicity journal is another invaluable practice in this process. Recording these meaningful coincidences and unusual patterns can reveal connections and meanings you weren't previously aware of. The journal isn't simply about documenting events, but about reflecting deeply on them and working to decode their personal significance for your life journey. When documenting synchronicities, include specific details about timing, your emotional state, what you were thinking about or dealing with when the synchronicity occurred, and any subsequent developments that might relate to the experience. Over time, patterns will emerge that help you understand how synchronicities operate in your unique life experience and what types of messages they typically convey to you. The practice of journaling itself seems to increase synchronicity frequency, as if the act of paying attention and recording meaningful coincidences signals to the universe that you're ready to receive more guidance. Many people report that synchronicities multiply once they begin actively tracking them, suggesting that recognition and appreciation encourage their continued occurrence. But what if you experience long periods without noticing any synchronicities? This could suggest several different scenarios, each requiring a different response. First, it might indicate that you're living within a very routine and predictable lifestyle, where time flows without significant disruptions or changes. When our lives become overly structured and repetitive, we might miss the subtle communications that are always available to us. Alternatively, it might indicate that you've become so aligned with your higher self and inner wisdom that you no longer require external signals to guide your decisions and choices. Advanced spiritual practitioners, sometimes report that obvious synchronicities become less frequent as their intuitive abilities develop, because they're receiving guidance through direct inner knowing rather than external signs. A third possibility is that synchronicities are occurring, but you're not recognizing them due to mental preoccupation, stress, or skepticism. Our busy modern lifestyle, with its constant distractions and demands on attention, can make us less sensitive to subtle signs and meaningful coincidences. In this case, the solution involves slowing down and cultivating present moment awareness. The most reliable method for activating synchronicities is to venture beyond your familiar comfort zone and embrace new experiences with an open heart and mind. Synchronicities thrive in the space between order and chaos, in moments when our normal patterns are disrupted and new possibilities can emerge. By varying your routines, exploring new places, meeting different people, and engaging in novel activities, you create optimal conditions for meaningful coincidences to occur. This involves cultivating a sense of wonder and amazement toward reality itself, approaching each day with curiosity about what surprises the universe might have in store. Children naturally live in this state of wonder, which might explain why they often experience synchronicities more frequently than adults. Reconnecting with childlike wonder and openness can significantly increase your synchronicity awareness. You can also explore your inner consciousness through deep self-reflection, creative visualization, and dream analysis. Synchronicities often emerge from the unconscious mind, so developing a relationship with your deeper psyche through meditation, journaling, and inner work can increase their frequency and clarity. Pay attention to your dreams, as they often contain symbolic information that relates to synchronicities appearing in your waking life. Active imagination exercises, where you engage in conscious dialogue with symbols, images, or figures that appear in your dreams or meditation, can also enhance synchronicity awareness. This practice, developed by Jung, helps bridge the conscious and unconscious minds, creating optimal conditions for synchronistic experiences. Working with intention and conscious manifestation can also increase creation synchronicities specifically. When you hold clear intentions for what you want to experience or create, while remaining open to how those intentions might manifest, you often find that synchronicities appear to support your goals. The key is combining clear intention with surrender to outcomes, allowing the universe to orchestrate the details while you focus on your desired result. Developing discernment between different sources of inner guidance is crucial for maximizing synchronicity benefits. Learn to distinguish between impulses arising from fear, social conditioning, or biological drives versus those emanating from your authentic spiritual essence and higher wisdom. Synchronicities typically support choices made from love, wisdom, and authentic self-expression, rather than those driven by fear, ego, or social pressure. Practice tuning into your body's wisdom when making decisions, as physical sensations often provide clear guidance about whether potential choices align with your highest good. Decisions that feel expansive, energizing, and peaceful in your body are more likely to be supported by confirming synchronicities, while choices that create tension, contraction, or anxiety might trigger warning synchronicities. Regular spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, or energy work seem to increase synchronicity sensitivity by raising your vibrational frequency and enhancing your connection to universal intelligence. These practices quiet mental noise and strengthen your ability to receive subtle guidance from both inner wisdom and external signs. Gratitude practices specifically seem to multiply synchronicity frequency. When you regularly acknowledge and appreciate the meaningful coincidences in your life, you signal to the universe that you value this form of communication and are ready to receive more. Gratitude creates a positive feedback loop that encourages continued synchronistic experiences. Community and shared practice can also enhance synchronicity awareness. Spending time with others who recognize and discuss meaningful coincidences often increases your own sensitivity to these experiences. Synchronicity discussion groups, spiritual communities, and consciousness-oriented friendships create supportive environments for developing this awareness. Some people find that certain locations seem to generate more synchronicities than others. Sacred sites, natural environments, creative spaces, and places with historical significance often seem to facilitate meaningful coincidences. Paying attention to where your most significant synchronicities occur can help you identify environments that support this type of awareness. Timing also plays a role in synchronicity frequency. Many people report increased synchronistic activity during certain times of day, lunar phases, or seasonal transitions. Astronomical events like eclipses, solstices, and equinoxes often coincide with clusters of meaningful coincidences, suggesting that cosmic cycles might influence synchronicity manifestation. The relationship between emotional states and synchronicity frequency is particularly interesting. Periods of emotional intensity, whether positive or negative, often generate increased synchronistic activity. Times of grief, transition, celebration, or spiritual opening seem to create optimal conditions for meaningful coincidences. This suggests that emotional vulnerability and openness might enhance our receptivity to universal guidance. Learning to work consciously with synchronicity requires developing patience and trust in divine timing. Not every synchronicity provides immediate clarity about its meaning or purpose. Some synchronicities only reveal their significance in retrospect, when later events provide context for understanding their original message. Developing tolerance for ambiguity and uncertainty is essential for working effectively with synchronistic guidance. It's also important to avoid becoming obsessive about finding meaning in every small coincidence. While cultivating synchronicity awareness is valuable, becoming overly focused on signs and symbols can lead to magical thinking or paranoia. The goal is developing balanced awareness that recognizes genuine synchronicities while maintaining grounding in practical reality. Remember that synchronicities are meant to support and guide you, not to make decisions for you. They provide information and perspective that can inform your choices, but ultimately, you remain responsible for your decisions and their consequences. Use synchronistic guidance as one input among many when making important life choices. Some synchronicities might seem to conflict with each other or provide unclear guidance. When this occurs, it often means you need more information, time, or inner development before the correct path becomes clear. Sometimes conflicting synchronicities indicate that multiple positive options are available, and your choice among them is less important than your commitment to whichever path you select. Advanced synchronicity work involves learning to dialogue consciously with the intelligence behind these experiences. Some practitioners develop the ability to ask specific questions and receive synchronistic answers, treating this form of communication as a reliable guidance system. This requires developing deep trust, clear intention-setting skills, and refined interpretation abilities. The ultimate goal of synchronicity work is not just personal guidance, but alignment with the flow of universal evolution and the highest good of all beings. As you become more attuned to synchronistic guidance, you often find yourself naturally making choices that benefit not only yourself, but also your community and the world. Synchronicities seem to guide us toward our unique role in the larger cosmic purpose. In conclusion, synchronicity reveals that our thoughts, emotions, and experiences are intimately woven into the mysterious fabric of universal consciousness. Staying attentive to these signs and meaningful coincidences helps us align with the cosmic flow, and synchronicity becomes an invaluable ally in navigating life's most important decisions and transitions. When you truly wake up to their presence, you'll realize they've been guiding you all along, weaving meaning and purpose into every aspect of your existence. Consider sharing this video with someone who's been searching for deeper meaning in their life experiences. When you share these consciousness concepts, you create an energetic ripple effect that expands collective awareness while reinforcing your own understanding of how reality truly works. Each person who awakens to synchronicity adds to the growing network of conscious individuals who are actively participating in the evolution of human awareness. Understanding synchronicities is just the beginning of recognizing how your consciousness shapes reality. The scientific proof behind this phenomenon lies in quantum mechanics itself, specifically in how observation literally determines the behavior of matter. This quantum principle reveals why your thoughts have the power to create your experience in ways that might astound you.